Hi, welcome to another vlog. This is the second part to Dad's story. First, let me start by saying I'm so grateful to each and every one of you that took their time to watch my first video, to comment, to DM, to subscribe. That meant a lot to me. And some of you even told me about their stories about how they lost their loved ones, and it's helping me heal. And I'm grateful for that. Dad was not only a parent, he was a friend, and he was there for me in so many difficult times. He never let us struggle for a single day. In one incident I remember in 2006, I was involved in an accident that almost took my life. But thank God that I'm here. I was bedridden for quite some time, and Dad stopped working and took care of me throughout that time. He cooked for me, fed me, read me books, watched movies with me, and it was a nice time. I even forgot that I couldn't walk at the moment because he was always there making me feel better. I eventually got better a bit and went to a boarding school, and he would come check up on me every Sunday to make sure that I was okay. On visiting days, he'd always be the first person to come and visit me. I remember he had this tiny bag where he would just buy stuff that he knows that I liked and be the first to come and visit me. In 2022, I lost my grandpa. He was also someone I loved so much because I grew up seeing him as well. He was always happy, always telling us about stories of Second World War. He was a soldier and he was part of it, and he had so much to tell. I wish I recorded some of the conversations. Uh, the last day I saw Dad, he was taking me to the airport, and I had refused for him to come. His back had started having issues, and I just didn't want him sitting in a car for 6 hours to come and just take me to the airport. But he insisted. He said, "No, I have to come." It's like he knew. "I have to come and say goodbye to you." I'm like, "Dad, I'll be here next year. Your back will be better and you can bring me to the airport then." But he said, "No, I have to come." And I just gave in. I was like, "Okay, fine, Dad." And he came. He was with my mom and a driver that they found. And they came and we had a nice day. Later in the evening, they took me to the airport. I was almost late and I checked in. But then I remembered that I hadn't taken a picture with him. I was trying to go out and take the picture. But then, almost getting to the door, I find this guard and he's like, "Ma'am, where are you going?" Like, "You have to go out and see someone." And he's like, I don't think that's a good idea. It was during the COVID-19 times, and at that time, so many things were confusing, and I was part of the confusion, checking in and trying to go out, and he just said, "No, please, just go back." Dad was on the call, and he could hear everything that was going on. And he's like, "It's okay. Next year we can take pictures. Don't miss your flight just because of a picture. Just go." I could see him from inside, but I don't think he could see me. They were still standing outside. I didn't know that that would be the most important picture, and that would be the last day that I would see him alive again. Uh, Fast forward to where we left at in our last video. So Dad has passed on, and he was in ICU for quite some time. And you all know that when someone goes from the ward to the ICU, bills just go from 0 to 100 pretty fast, and that's what happened to us. But so many people came through for us, and we were able to give him a decent burial. Though it was a sad day, I was happy to see everyone that showed up for him, all his friends, people he helped. It was just a great day. It was just bittersweet day. But believe we give him a decent burial. I'll share some of what happened in that day, just a small part. We were live on that day, and so I believe that you can see most of the videos there. So I just share a little of it. The day started out so bright and sunny, and so calm, just as Dad was. It was early in the morning, and people were just coming through. Some were getting ready. I was back there trying to talk to my cousins and stay out of my head for a while. We had such a nice group that was organized and knew how to handle things around. People came in, some were seated, some were dressing up and making sure that everything is okay. And now it's time to go and have a word and pray so that we can go and see Dad for one last time. Our speaker was so nice, and he had a way with words to make us feel better before we went in to see Dad, because he knew that it would be so emotional, and it was. I was strong, but when I saw him, I couldn't stop crying. It was so hard for me. But I'm happy that I had people there to lean on, to cry, to just be there for me. Because it was not easy at all. Not easy. After seeing him, now it was time to go to church so that we could pray for him, for his soul to rest in peace. The church service started really well with a word of prayer and our speaker welcoming us to church and making a few jokes here and there. I think to just cheer us up because the day was already sad enough. And then he welcomed my cousin to come and read Dad's eulogy, which she did very well. It's a job we gave her without even telling her, and she didn't even complain. She was so confident and well put together, and she did a good job. So she reads about Dad's life when he was born, about school, his marriage life, his work, and everything else. And then it was my turn. We had written down something for Dad, of course, me and my sister. And I wanted to be the one to read it, even though I knew that it would be so emotional. I just wanted to be the one to read it. Everyone was skeptical about me reading that, and I see why they did because I just read two words and I just started crying. I cried and cried and cried, and my cousin just helped me. And next up was Mom's turn, but she couldn't do it, so one of our family friends decides to do it on our behalf. This is someone who's like a second mom. She's a nurse and she really fought for Dad. She helped him with everything that she could to make him be better. Just that it wasn't possible. She also helped me with my injuries during my accident times. She would come home and see me and treat me when she could. And it was such a nice time because I didn't like the hospital. They were so rough and my knees were taking so long to heal. But she had a way to just make things better. I still have scars from that accident up to date. And thanks to her, I didn't have to go through so much pain. She was such a good support system.
She's a neighbor, she's a close confidant of the family, she's a pastor, Pastor Irene, to come and pay tribute on behalf of the neighbors. Karibu mchungaji. Mchungaji, tumukaribisha na makofi. Karibu sana. And thank you so much for being there for the family. You're a great pillar. Karibu.
Thank you. God bless you. Bwana Yesu asifiwe kanisa. Kwa majina ni Irene, nimeokoka, Kristo ni Bwana. Nashukuru nafasi kuwashukuru nyote, haswa ma minister. God bless you. Nitaongea kwa niaba ya Kiruya harari mtu mwega muno.
Pastor Irene is also one of those people that I will never forget. She really fought for Dad. She was there for him when he went to hospitals, came to see him at home, pray for him. And I remember one time they were in Nairobi, in one of the hospitals that was our last hope, and they couldn't admit him. But she cried and screamed and just said, no, we just have to admit this person because Dad was really in bad shape. And they did because of her. And it was good because at least he got some medication, even though it didn't help. She just did the best that she could. I met her back in 2006 when I joined that boarding school, and she used to work there and took care of me. And even after school, our paths just kept crossing until one day she just became our neighbor. And we've lived a good life since then with her, supporting each other through thick and thin. They became very good friends with my parents, my mom and dad. And all throughout, she's been such a good support system, going with us to the morgue, helping us in everything. And even in this day, she was still here to support us. This was our committee chairman. He was such a good man, always making sure that everything was okay. And for 2 weeks straight, he was always the first person to come to our meetings, whether it was raining or anything, he was just there. He was also very funny and made us laugh every single day that he came. This is Dad's brother. I spoke on behalf of all the siblings and told us so much about Dad. Most of the things that we never even knew about him, and it was just nice to hear him talk so much nice things about his brother. So many other people talked about Dad. I didn't even know who some were, but just hearing them talk and say nice things about Dad was such a good thing because it reminded me of the kind of person that he was. After all was said and done, it was time for our final prayer so that we could just take Dad home to rest. We get home and start preparing for our last event of the day, and that is to bury Dad. It was so painful. Nothing would have prepared me for all the pain that I felt. I couldn't let go. I just cried and didn't want to just throw that soil in there. It felt like I was giving up on him, and I was just praying to God, asking him, please, God, I beg you, please, just bring him back. Bring him back. I even had to have help just to do it. I didn't want him to go, and it had just started to kick in that I would never see him again. It's the worst pain that I've ever felt. The burial was done, and we prayed and went to bedside after it. But suddenly, the weather just changed and it started raining. I think the rain was just a sign that Dad was now in a good place and we should not worry about him anymore, though it's easier said than done. But we are trying to be happy because it's all he ever wanted for us, to be happy and never have to worry about anything in life. After the burial, I stayed home for a month and came back. Some of my friends here also came to see me and brought me gifts. There's one in particular that I like so much. It was from my friend Jackie. It was packaged so well, and I really liked her selection of gifts. I enjoyed it so much. After that, I stayed indoors for such a long time. I just kept to myself. It was sad. I think I was depressed for a while. I didn't know how to live without that. How? I had so many things that I had planned of how maybe we'll tour the world someday together, of how I would give him all the best things in life, and all that was gone now. Uh, the weather was not helping either. It was so cold when I came back, and I found a perfect excuse not to go out and just stay home. But recently, the weather has gotten better, and I have gone to so many places just to visit and clear my mind. I'll share those places in my next video. Thanks for watching this one. Subscribe and see you on the next one.